Chapter 29. Noah tossed her folder of documents onto a little table as he pulled her to the bed. "We'll work on those in the morning." "So many pillows," she teased as she flopped back into the cozy pile. An actual blush worked its way up Noah's cheeks. None of the filthy things he'd said to her had ever caused such a reaction as his confession. "They're for you." "What?" He crawled onto the bed next to her, pulling her flush against him like he couldn't bear to have even an inch between them. Which was good because she wanted to be pressed against him for at least the next 24 hours, or until this all felt real. Noah was in love with her. She was in love with him. It was unfathomable, unbelievable, unexpected. Even if maybe she should have seen it coming. Maybe she should have seen all along what Noah's glances really meant. What him wanting to spend time with her was really about. But does anyone ever really believe they'll find something like this? That someone will love them for who they really are? It was perfect. And Hazel wasn't expecting it. But now that she had it, she sure as hell was going to hold on with both hands. Literally. "I bought them for you," Noah was saying as she traced the line of his pink cheeks with her finger. "You bought me pillows?" He smiled, lopsided and sweet, and Hazel's stomach swung from the rafters. "I wanted you to be comfortable if we ever ended up here."
Wow.
"I've got it bad for you, Hayes." She grinned. "Oh yeah. Hell yeah. T've got it bad for you too." His smile grew. "And look at that, dreams really do come true." Hazel laughed even as her body went hot at the memory of the last time Noah had said that to her. The night in her kitchen, her in nothing but her panties on the counter and him kneeling between her thighs. A shiver ran through her and he held her tighter. "Cold." "No. Not cold. Actually, I think we're both wearing too much clothing." His smile turned into a piratic grin. "Agreed." Hazel shimmied out of her sweater, tossing it aside as Noah tugged his shirt over his head. Her shirt joined the pile, and then she pulled him back on top of her. "That's a bit better," she said as he kissed down her neck, the heat of his skin scorching hers. "Much," he murmured, his lips traveling across her chest and over the swell of her breasts. He had her bra unhooked. Before she could register his hands behind her back, she pushed it off as his head dipped to lick and suck. "Pants," Hazel gasped, tugging at the waist of his jeans. He groaned when her fingers dipped below the waistband. "I feel like you're rushing me, Hayes pants." "Please, Noah," she groaned. "We can do it slowly later or however you want. I just need it like this. I just need you." "Now," his gaze met hers, dark and steady. "That's how you want it?" "Fast," she nodded, biting her lower lip. "Fast and hard. Please, Noah." He swallowed. She watched his throat work, listened to his jagged breath. A muscle ticked in his jaw. She'd never seen him so still, so quiet, like he was pulling himself together before he spoke, before he moved. Hazel waited, not embarrassed about her request, knowing Noah would take it and keep her safe. She didn't want him to be gentle with her right now. She didn't want sweet. She wanted Noah to anchor her in this moment. She wanted this time to feel as raw as she felt right now. Like all her emotions were on the outside of her body, exposed nerves that didn't need gentle touches. These past 4 months had been the most incredible foreplay, but now she needed Noah to press her into this mattress and make her believe him. This was real. She was his. He was hers. She needed him to convince her once and for all. And she only hoped he understood as she held his gaze. Love and want, and still that little bit of fear that this would all go away, lodged in her throat. "You need to tell me to stop." "Okay, if you need me to stop, tell me." His voice was rough. Waves over the rocks. Hazel nodded. "Words, Hazel." "Okay, I'll tell you. I promise." He was already unbuttoning his pants, sliding them over his hips. "Pants," he said, a slight smirk tugging at his lips. Hazel quickly followed his order, shucking her pants as she watched Noah's boxers follow the path of his jeans. She pulled down her underwear, a plain white pair, as Noah watched, a hungry stare on his face. This man wanted her. A thrill she hoped never went away raced through her at the thought. "Roll over," he rasped. She did as she was told, savoring the sound of Noah's soft groan as she did. He ran a hand down her hip. He gave her a little squeeze. "Okay?" "Yes." She heard the tear of the condom wrapper, waited as he rolled it on, and then his hands were on her hips, angling her up for him. She'd never felt so exposed, so vulnerable. She'd never trusted another human so completely. Noah's hand came between her legs, opening her even more. He teased her a little where she was already so wet and aching. Noah, please. She couldn't take any more. Her legs had already started to tremble. His hand was gone, back on her hip, and he slid into her in one smooth thrust. The angle was so deep. Hazel's breath caught, her heart caught, her brain caught, and then Noah was everywhere. His arms around her, his legs surrounding hers, and his body so deep within her she couldn't breathe. You okay? He whispered, his lips on her shoulder, his words in her ear. Yes, she gasped. More Hazel. His voice sounded as wrecked as she felt. More. He twined his fingers with hers, their hands pressed into the mattress. The other hand was back on her hip, holding her steady as he pulled out part way and thrust back in. Hazel's forehead was pressed into a pillow, and Noah's breath was hot on her neck. Again she demanded, and he complied. Again, and again Noah crashed into her, the ache in her building and building. She squeezed his fingers in hers and he stilled, his body buried deep in hers. He kissed her across her shoulders, the sensation so at odds with the relentless thrust of his hips, that Hazel felt tears spring to her eyes. A startled sob broke from her lips. Hazel? Just ... single quotes. We'll stop, no. She kissed the back of his hand, desperately, reverently. It was the only part of him she could reach from her position pinned to the bed. Don't stop. I just ... it's real. You're real, and I love you. She felt the press of his forehead between her shoulder. Blades, it's real, he said, his voice as broken as she felt. You and me, I promise. She nodded, her cheek against one of his many pillows. Team gonna make you come now, okay? Hazel huffed a watery laugh. Yeah, okay. Noah pressed one more kiss into her shoulder and then gently untangled his fingers from hers. He lifted her hips up again, changing the angle, and Hazel immediately felt it. Good hell, yeah. Noah's chuckle was briefly her favorite sound until it was followed by his groan as he thrust in and out. Hazel moaned, her fingers grasping at the bedsheets. Touch yourself, Haze. And she did it. She'd do anything he said right now. She knew anything he said would bring her pleasure. She touched herself while he dove into her, hitting a place that made her eyes roll back and her toes curl, and the ache was so deep now, she didn't know if she could survive it. Keep going, he demanded, his fingers digging into her hips, and she did. Faster and harder as he did the same, that ache building, but she was safe. Safe with Noah. Safe and wanted and loved. She whimpered, the tears back in her eyes, the sob back in her throat, and she let it out as she broke. She trembled and cried and shook, and Noah held her up. Noah, she groaned into the pillows he bought to keep her comfortable, and his arms were around her again, her body flush with the bed, their hands intertwined, and Noah found his pleasure with his lips pressed to her shoulder. Hazel, he murmured her name over and over, even after he rolled off of her, even after he'd cleaned up and come back to bed, wrapping himself around her. He murmured her name as he kissed her and held her, like he couldn't believe it either, but it was true. And it was a story they'd be telling for a long time. Well, parts of it anyway. Some parts were private.